parallel ninja worlds collide, Empire vs. Altered Konoha. Like, share and subscribe. Episode 86. Chaos in Konoha. Sarutobi Asuma, the S-rank rebel ninja. Sarutobi Asuma had a painful face and coughed hard. Knowing that he could not be a match for Uchiha Itachi, he did not try to struggle and resist. But Uchiha Itachi, after all, was just a traitor. He had previously manipulated himself to kill the daimyo of the Land of Fire and done such a big thing. Now, the entire Konoha might have been mobilized. Uchiha Itachi was just one person, he could not be a match for the entire Konoha. The people sent by his father would definitely be able to rescue him. Guess what the situation is in Konoha now? Imperial Itachi looked down at Sarutobi Asuma, who was hunched over and curled up on the ground, and said indifferently, after the incident of you killing the daimyo, Konoha should now send a large number of ninjas to arrest you. Sarutobi Asuma subconsciously wanted to curse, but learned from the previous lesson and held it back. This bastard. He even said that he killed the daimyo himself. You also know that Yihui is sick and will come to catch you? Sarutobi Asuma endured the pain in his abdomen and panted, give up, you can't escape. Really? But I'm not worried about my own safety. Imperial Itachi nodded and said, Sarutobi Asuma, think about it, will only your father's people come to find you? Is there anyone else who wants to find you as soon as possible? On the ground. Sarutobi Asuma's face changed. What do you mean? Sarutobi Asuma swallowed his saliva, and his face gradually became ugly. If I were Shimura Danzo. Imperial Itachi said softly, then, how can I handle this matter to be more beneficial to me? Sarutobi Asuma subconsciously clenched his fists. Damn it. Danzo. This Hokage assistant, the leader of the root, has always wanted to be a Hokage. For 7-3 now, because I am controlled to kill the daimyo, I must be in a very bad situation. I really need to find myself back, find out the situation, and then announce the truth to the outside world. And for Danzo. I don't want to be found back and let my father be implicated in the murder of the daimyo. This is what Danzo wants. If, later, Danzo's people find me first, those people might kill me directly. Sarutobi Asuma suddenly thought of something, his body trembled, and he looked at the Imperial Itachi with horror. Are you in the same group with Danzo? Controlling me to kill the daimyo, and further taking the opportunity to drag my father, the third Hokage, into the water. This kind of thing, Danzo, that guy, might be able to do it. And in this case, this guy will never let himself return to Konoha alive. You think too much. Imperial Itachi shook his head and said, Shimura Danzo, he should not have the courage to plot anything by killing the daimyo. Or in other words, in this ninja world, no one dares to really do anything to the daimyo. Sarutobi Asuma was confused. What on earth does this bastard Uchiha Itachi want to do? You can rest assured about your safety for now. The corners of Imperial Itachi's mouth curled up slightly, with a mocking smile, I won't let you be killed by others. Of course, the people sent by your father can't save you. What on earth do you want to do? Sarutobi Asuma is about to collapse. This feeling of not knowing what your fate will be in the next moment is too uncomfortable. It would be better to kill him directly, which would be a relief for him. Think about it, what would happen if you never show up? Imperial Itachi said to Asuma with interest, for you, the murderer of the daimyo, your father, the third Hokage, has never been able to find you. Guess what will happen after this? Sarutobi Asuma frowned and thought secretly in his heart. However, the more he thought about it, the uglier his face became, and he even turned pale. If he didn't show up, maybe someone would think that his father had hidden him. And if that were the case, the murder of the daimyo might really be related to his father. In this case, what do you think Sarutobi Hiruzen will do? Imperial Itachi looked at Sarutobi Asuma's face with interest, and said expectantly, maybe he will declare you a traitor, or even declare that what you did has nothing to do with him. What do you think? Sarutobi Asuma's face was pale. If his father really reached that point, then he would probably have to give up on himself and try to protect himself. No. Sarutobi Asuma shook his head again and again, and said like self-hypnosis, it's impossible. The ninjas of Konoha will definitely come here soon. Imperial Itachi smiled and said, I suggest you don't expect too much. Otherwise, it would be very uncomfortable after the expectation is shattered. Sarutobi Asuma gritted his teeth. The resentment in his heart almost swelled to ultimate. Konoha Village. Hokage Office. I have asked Shikamaru and the others. Nara Shikaku reported. Sarutobi Asuma did take them to complete the task entrusted by the daimyo's wife. After the three of them found the daimyo's wife's pet cat, Sarutobi Asuma took the pet cat to complete the task. And after that, Shikamaru and the others never saw Sarutobi Asuma again. And then. That was when Sarutobi Asuma assassinated the daimyo. Shikaku, what do you think the truth is? Sarutobi Hiruzen kept smoking, frowning, and looking worried. There are many possibilities. Nara Shikaku quickly replied, for example, someone is controlling Sarutobi Asuma, or someone is pretending to be Sarutobi Asuma, or it is Sarutobi Asuma himself, or nothing. As he was talking, Nara Shikaku realized that something was wrong and stopped immediately. On the opposite side, Sarutobi Hiruzen's face had turned dark. Just now, Shikaku wanted to say, was it really Asuma who went to assassinate the daimyo? The genius military strategist of their Konoha actually has such doubts? ISIS. Nara Shikaku looked a little embarrassed and hurriedly added, it doesn't matter what the truth is now. The important thing is to find Sarutobi Asuma as soon as possible and then clear our Konoha of suspicion. No matter who killed the daimyo. Even if it was really Sarutobi Asuma who did it, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that they must give an explanation to the daimyo's mansion and get themselves out of it. Sarutobi Hiruzen sighed in worry. So many people have been sent out to find him, but there is no news at all. I don't know where his son is now. So many Konoha shinobi searched all over the Land of Fire, but there was no clue at all. KTI. Nara Shikaku used the most euphemistic words and spoke carefully. In the process of searching for Sarutobi Asuma, we must also be careful to guard against. Others may make other moves. Sarutobi Hiruzen raised his head suddenly and stared at Nara Shikaku. The expression on his face kept changing. According to Shikaku, he has not been able to find Asuma now. Is there another possibility? Asuma has been killed and the body has been destroyed. That's why there is no trace at all. If this is the case, then no matter how many people he sends out to search, no matter how long he searches, there will be no results. No. Sarutobi Hiruzen shook his head suddenly, breathing a little hurriedly, and said, it's impossible for someone to move so quickly. Danzo now only has Aburame Ryoma under his command. How can people from other villages find Asuma before the Konoha shinobi he sent out? As for the saying that someone manipulated Asuma, and after using him, he killed Asuma and destroyed his body. But if that's the case, we should be able to find some clues about the mastermind, right? Why can't we find anything now? Hokage-sama, we should think about it in advance. Nara Shikaku thought for a moment and reminded carefully, if we can't find Sarutobi Asuma, or if we find him, he has already. If that's the case, we have to find a way to give an explanation to the daimyo. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face became uglier and uglier. I don't know whether my son is alive or dead. Now I have to think about these things. Swish. Suddenly, the door of the Hokage's office was pushed open. Hiruzen, the situation is getting more and more complicated. Mitokado Hamura pushed open the door and walked in with a letter in his hand. This is from the Wind Country. The Wind Country and Sunagakure are questioning us now. First, there was an accident in the mansion of the Wind Country daimyo. Then the Fire Country daimyo was murdered. And the murderer happened to be related to their Konoha. Now, the letters from the Wind Country and Sunagakure have already questioned them, suspecting whether the murder of the two daimyo is related to the leaf. What does the Wind Country have to do with us? Sarutobi Hiruzen finished reading the letter and was so angry that he slammed the letter on the table. Uchiha Itachi, a traitor, killed the Wind Country daimyo. What does it have to do with our Konoha? The Kazekage actually threatened us, saying that if we can't give an explanation, it will be difficult to maintain peace between the two sides. Who is he scaring? Sunagakure actually dares to jump over Konoha's head now? What a joke. Sunagakure, it's not Cloud Shinobi. Even if Iwagakure threatens Konoha like this, Sarutobi Hiruzen can barely accept it. But Sunagakure, the bottom of the 5 major ninja villages, actually dares to be arrogant. Hokage, something is wrong. Nara Shikaku's face suddenly changed, and reminded, the key now is not only Sunagakure, other ninja villages may also take action. Just as he finished speaking, the door of the Hokage's office was pushed open again. Hiruzen, it's really a mess now. Udatane Koharu also came in with a few letters in his hand, and said anxiously, the land of lightning and cloud shinobi village, the land of earth and Iwagakure are all writing to question us now. 2 of the 5 major daimyos have been killed in a row. The daimyos of the land of lightning and the land of earth can no longer sit still. If this continues, who knows if they will be the next one. After the 2 daimyos contacted Cloud Shinobi Village and Iwagakure, the 4th Reikage and the 3rd Suchikage also responded quickly. Put pressure on Konoha. Such a good opportunity to strike Konoha must not be missed. As a result, the situation has become what it is now. Except for Kirigakure, which is far away overseas and has always implemented a closed policy, now the 3 major ninja countries and 3 major ninja villages in the ninja world are collectively putting pressure on Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen held his forehead and suddenly felt dizzy. How did it suddenly become like this? What is going on? Hokage, we must react. Nara Shikaku said anxiously, if we delay any longer, maybe the 3 villages of Sand Shinobi, Cloud Shinobi, and Rock Shinobi will use this as an excuse to join forces to fight against us. 3 major ninja villages. And they are joining forces, not fighting alone. With the current few kittens in Konoha, they will definitely not be able to withstand such a battle. But how should we react? Mitokado Hamura frowned in confusion. Asuma, that kid, hasn't been found yet. They haven't even figured out the truth yet. What can we use to respond? Udatane Koharu's eyebrows suddenly moved, and he looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen, wanting to say something, but suddenly hesitant. Perhaps, we can get rid of Konoha first? Sarutobi Hiruzen's face instantly turned as dark as the bottom of a pot. Get rid of Konoha? Doesn't that mean that all the murder of the daimyo will be blamed on his son? What a bullshit idea. If Asuma is really accused of killing the daimyo, even if Asuma can be found in the future, his life will definitely not be saved. He must be sent out to give an explanation to the daimyo's mansion. Ahem. Actually, we just need to make a statement first. Nara Shikaku sorted out his thoughts and said, for example, temporarily declare Sarutobi Asuma a traitor. As for the truth of the daimyo's murder, we are still investigating. In this way, when the truth comes out in the future, the matter has nothing to do with Sarutobi Asuma, and then we can restore his reputation. In this way, at least we can give an explanation to the other countries and ninja villages first. Don't rush to put the blame on Sarutobi Asuma. But Konoha must be left out first. Sarutobi Hiruzen had a blank expression on his face, and his eyes swept across the faces of several people present. Suddenly, he felt powerless and collapsed on the Hokage seat. This is the only way for now, go and announce it. Otherwise, we may really face a war soon. But how could this happen? How did my son suddenly become a traitor? Well, then announce it to the public like this. Nara Shikaku thought about the wording in his mind and said, because Sarutobi Asuma has been missing for a long time and has not returned to the village, he is now announced as a Konoha S-level traitor, and Lin Yi is catching up with him in his entire history. As for the true 4.5 phases of the daimyo's murder, Konoha is investigating. No matter who the murderer is, Konoha will never show mercy and will give an explanation to the daimyo. Hokage-sama, what do you think? Opposite. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked gloomy. Waved his hand indifferently and said, that's it. At the same time, Jiraiya, who had just returned to Konoha village, listened to the rumors from the villagers with a shocked face. Boe. Jiraiya's jaw almost dropped. Has he been declared an S-class traitor? Before, he hurried back from the land of hot water because he learned that something happened in Konoha. The daimyo of the land of fire was killed, and it was related to his teacher's son. Now, several major countries and ninja villages are eyeing Konoha. The war is about to break out. Result. Just as I returned to Konoha, I heard such a shocking news. Asuma has been declared a traitor. Isn't it that the village is so fast? Has the truth been found out and confirmed that it was Asuma who did it? I didn't dare to stay any longer. Jiraiya rushed to the Hokage building quickly. Old man, what's going on? Jiraiya was so anxious that he didn't even go out the main door, and jumped in directly from the window of the Hokage building. What happened? Is it Jiraiya? Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly felt relieved when he saw Jiraiya. It's okay. With Jiraiya back, he can be more confident in facing the war threats from other villages. However, after thinking about it, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly felt annoyed. You still know how to come back. Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed at Jiraiya and scolded him unhappily. Didn't you say you were going to find Naruto? Where did you end up? Where did you go to wander around again? Jiraiya was full of question marks. No, why didn't he understand what the old man said? Episode 87. Jiraiya, when was my memory sealed? Naruto, is it the child that Minato left behind? Jiraiya scratched his head and asked in confusion, when did I say I was going to find Naruto? Sarutobi Hiruzen had a question mark on his face. Jiraiya was also confused. The two of them just stared at each other in confusion for a while. Didn't you say before that Naruto is the child of prophecy you are looking for? Sarutobi Hiruzen said puzzledly, and then, you also said that you would go find Naruto so that Naruto can worship you as a teacher and you can teach the child of prophecy? Jiraiya was completely confused. When did I say such a thing? Naruto, the child left by Minato, is he the child of prophecy? How come I don't know? You said it when you came back last time. Sarutobi Hiruzen was also confused. You also said that the great toad sage of Mount Myaboku said that the child of prophecy would be a blonde and blue-eyed boy, and then you guessed that it should be Naruto. Wait, stop, choose to stop. Jiraiya saw Sarutobi Hiruzen said as if Disha was serious. His mind was completely confused, and he defended himself. Old man, you said that when I came back last time. When did I come back? He has been collecting materials in the land of hot springs all this time. Sarutobi Hiruzen stared at Jiraiya opposite him. Suddenly, he felt a chill on the back of his neck. What is going on? Some time ago, Jiraiya suddenly returned to the village and said that Naruto was the child of prophecy, and then went to find Naruto. And in the end, he heard Kakashi report that they had never met Jiraiya. At that time, he didn't care, thinking that Jiraiya had lost contact again. The result. Now. Sarutobi Hiruzen was terrified. If Jiraiya has never come back, then who is the Jiraiya who told him the child of prophecy before? What is going on? In the Hokage's office. Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya, the two looked at each other, both with serious faces. They both noticed something was wrong. Let me think. Sarutobi Hiruzen recalled the date when he met Jiraiya before and asked, June 17th, where were you at that time? First, he needed to confirm whether the person he met before was really Jiraiya. At that time? Jiraiya frowned and recalled carefully, I should have been in the land of hot springs from the 1st of June until now, and I have never left. That's right in his memory. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face changed. Who disguised the Jiraiya I met before? Impossible. The person I met before, whether it was his habitual movements or the way he spoke, was exactly the same as Jiraiya. Who could disguise Jiraiya to this extent? Wait. Jiraiya recalled, and suddenly his face changed. June 17th. What did I do during that period in mid-June? Why can't he remember anything at all? From around mid-June to late June. For about 10 days, he can't remember what he did at all. This shouldn't be. Jiraiya's face became uglier. How could I not remember anything? He was collecting materials for a book. The things he experienced and the scenes he saw should have a deep memory. However, now, he seems to only remember things after June 22nd. The memories of the previous 10 days are gone. Jiraiya looked grim and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen across from him solemnly. Old man, there is something wrong with my memory. In the dark cave. On the finger of the ghetto statue, the light and shadow of the 6 paths appeared one by one. I think everyone has heard about this recently? White Zetsu said with a smile, the son of the 3rd Hokage of Konoha village, Sarutobi Asuma, killed the daimyo of the Land of Fire and is now wanted as an S-rank traitor. In the middle of the 6 paths light and shadow, Tendo Pain nodded slightly and said, everyone, tell me what you think about this. How else can you look at this? Uchiha Obito snorted coldly, it must be those people from the other world. How could the son of the 3rd Hokage suddenly assassinate the daimyo? And assassination is fine. He actually survived and exposed his identity. In Obito's view, the truth is already extremely obvious. Those people from the other world captured Sarutobi Asuma and controlled him to kill the daimyo, so that it would be convenient to provoke a dispute between Konoha and the daimyo of the Land of Fire. I think so too. Hashigaki Kisame gritted his teeth and said, the Kingdom of Wind has also been frantically looking for Itachi and me recently, saying that we killed the entire family of the daimyo of the Kingdom of Wind. It's simply inexplicable. When did he do such a thing? You don't have to guess, it must be those people from the other world who impersonated them and framed them. If it's those people from the other world. Conan thought, frowned slightly and said, in this way, you have to control Sarutobi Asuma to kill the daimyo, and fight with the guards of the daimyo's mansion during the period. Can you do so many things without being discovered by anyone? What kind of control method is needed to do this? If it's Mangekyo Sharingan, it should be possible. Itachi thought about it and replied. So, this matter may be done by that Uchiha Obito from another time and space, controlling Sarutobi Asuma? Conan said, and looked at Obito with a vigilant look. This mysterious Madara, he also has the Mangekyo Sharingan. We must be on guard against him using the Mangekyo Sharingan to control people. Uchiha Obito was silent. Conan suddenly looked at him when he said this. Obito even doubted whether his identity was exposed. Speaking of which, Black Zetsu quickly said, Itachi, did you contact the third Hokage before? What happened? Itachi shook his head and said, I didn't receive any reply from here. Heh. Uchiha Obito sneered, maybe the third Hokage no longer trusts you as a traitor? After all, Uchiha Itachi, this idiot, was fooled into destroying his entire clan. Now he has been a traitor for several years. The old guy Sarutobi Hiruzen may think that Itachi has reacted and then lose trust in Itachi. What should we do now? Hashigaki Kisame spread his hands and asked, those people from Otherworld, what do they want to do? Judging from the current situation, those invaders may want to start a war in our ninja world. Itachi of the ninja world said with a vigilant look, the current situation in the ninja world, Konoha is almost standing on the opposite side of the entire ninja world. The daimyo of the Land of Fire, as well as several other major countries and ninja villages, are collectively forcing Konoha to give an explanation. However, this matter was done by invaders from another world. What explanation can Konoha give? If this continues, Konoha will not be able to give a response. Maybe the other ninja villages will really join forces to go to war against Konoha. No matter what those people plan to do, we should find a way to stop it. Tendu Pain nodded, turned to look at Zetsu, and asked, Zetsu, have you found the whereabouts of Sarutobi Asuma? If Sarutobi Asuma can be found, then everything will be easy. No. White Zetsu shook his head and said, no trace was found. Maybe Sarutobi Asuma has been destroyed and there is no trace left. What should we do now? Conan frowned and said, we can't just watch the conspiracy of those alien visitors succeed, right? Is it? Hashigaki Kisame suddenly interrupted, why do we have to worry about this kind of thing? Aren't they a mercenary organization composed of rebellious ninjas? Why do they have to remind the 5 major ninja villages about this kind of alien invaders? As soon as these words came out, the cave suddenly became silent. Everyone present felt a sense of absurdity. Some of them wanted to capture the tailed beasts of the 5 major ninja villages and make tailed beast weapons, some wanted to hang everyone on the tree for infinite Tsukuyomi, and some wanted to 1979. But no matter what the purpose is, they should be hostile to the 5 major ninja villages. Why is it that now, they are more and more like the savior of Akatsuki? There was a long silence. Tendo Pain slowly said. Now, except for Orochimaru, only we Akatsuki know the existence of the otherworld invaders. Although the 5 major ninja villages will also be our future enemies, but now, let's use the power of the 5 major ninja villages to drive the otherworld invaders back. It's a bit strange to do it now, but not much. After all, Akatsuki's ultimate goal is the long-term peace of the future of the ninja world. In this case, of course they should also solve the problem of the invaders from other worlds. Well, they don't have the ability to solve it, so let the people of the 5 major ninja villages solve it, so that they are also involved. But what should we do now? Conan said helplessly, we have contacted Konoha, but Konoha doesn't believe it. After all, it is a mercenary organization composed of rebel ninjas. In front of the 5 major ninja villages, they don't have much credibility. Especially, it's a major but ridiculous thing like the invasion of Otherworld. The third Hokage of Konoha doesn't believe it, which is normal in Conan's opinion. She probably wouldn't believe it either. In the cave, there was another silence. A group of people, whether it's Nagato or Obito, Ninja World Itachi or Black Zetsu. They can't think of a way. How can this group of people make the people of the 5 major ninja villages believe what they say? Try it again. Uchiha Obito said helplessly, Itachi, try to contact Sarutobi Hiruzen again and tell him the truth about Sarutobi Asuma. Ninja Itachi nodded slowly. According to the current information, it should be Uchiha Obito from Otherworld, who used Mangekyo Sharingan to control Sarutobi Asuma to assassinate the daimyo of the Land of Fire. He then conveyed this guess to the third Hokage, thinking that the third Hokage should not believe that his son would assassinate the daimyo. After seeing this letter from him, the third Hokage might believe it. Uchiha Obito's cheek twitched slightly under the mask. Just go and notify him. Konoha Village. Hokage Building. Fire-style Hao-Yen technique. Sarutobi Hiruzen quickly formed a seal with his hands, and a fierce flame directly burned the black ninja crow flying from the window to death. You don't need to look at him to know that this must be another ninja of Uchiha Itachi. For Uchiha Itachi, he no longer believes it at all. In addition, because of what happened during this period, Sarutobi Hiruzen is getting increasingly irritable. I don't know whether my son is alive or dead, and the daimyo is still urging me. Although the other major countries and ninja villages have restrained themselves after issuing statements, the situation facing Konoha is still very tense. If we are not careful, we may be besieged by the 3 major ninja villages. In an irritable mood, Sarutobi Hiruzen was in no mood to care about Uchiha Itachi, and directly burned the ninja crows sent by Uchiha Itachi to death. Old man, what are you doing? Jiraiya said in confusion. Nothing, don't worry about it. Sarutobi Hiruzen waved his hand irritably, turned his head and looked at Yamanaka Hai in the Hokage's office, and asked, Hai, what are the results of the examination? Opposite. The head of the Yamanaka clan, Yamanaka Hai, had a solemn expression at this moment. Hokage-sama, there is indeed a seal. Yamanaka Hai said with a serious face, in Jiraiya-sama's mind, from June 12 to 22, this memory was sealed by someone. With my means, I can't detect the memory during this period through the seal. Unbelievable. Jiraiya-sama, one of the Konoha Sannin, is a well-known veteran Kage-level strongman in the ninja world. In his mind, a seal was left unknowingly. What happened in that sealed memory? 227. Jiraiya, think about it carefully again. Sarutobi Hiruzen frowned and stared at Jiraiya, see if you can find any clues. I have carefully recalled it many times. Jiraiya said helplessly, before June 12, I was collecting materials everywhere in the land of hot water. Ahem, in short, I don't have any clues to analyze anything about the lost memory. It seems that the person who took action should be very cautious. Before the target memory that needs to be sealed, there is another sealed section. In this way, he has no way to get information about the person who did it. But, who can do such a thing? Yamanaka Hai felt that he could not understand it at all. With the strength of Jiraiya, how could his memory be sealed silently? The time and place are also suspicious. Jiraiya nodded and said, according to what you said, old man, I returned to Konoha on June 17, and then planned to go to the Land of Waves, but on June 22, after my memory was restored, I was in the Land of Hot Water again. During this period, what happened to me? The mysterious person who sealed his memory actually sent him back to the Land of Hot Water. He didn't notice the abnormality at the time, and didn't notice that the time in his memory jumped 10 days. D. Sarutobi Hiruzen pulled his hair in distress, there are so many troubles recently. It's his son who went to assassinate the daimyo, and his disciple's memory was sealed. If he continues like this, he probably won't be surprised no matter what strange things happen next. Time continues to pass. The large number of ninjas sent by Konoha did not find any trace of Sarutobi Asuma. Jiraiya wanted to find clues to his lost memory, but he couldn't find anything. And in Konoha village, the daimyo's questioning is getting more severe day by day. The Fire Country daimyo has been dead for so many days. Now, Kuni has not given an explanation. What is going on? Third Hokage. Sarutobi Asuma, where is he now? D. Lu said to Sarutobi Hiruzen angrily, Konoha sent so many people, but they couldn't find him. Is it true that they can't find him, or has he been hidden? Pei Abbot, we Konoha are really trying our best to find him. Although Sarutobi Hiruzen was extremely irritable, he was still patient at this moment. Kato, even if Asuma is my son, if he really killed the daimyo, I will never blame him. I hope so. Lu shook his head and said, if Konoha can't give an explanation, the daimyo will probably lose trust in you, the third Hokage. After that, Lu planned to leave. Abbot, please stay. A voice that was very familiar to Sarutobi Hiruzen came from outside. I have found important clues about the murder of the daimyo. I wonder if Abbot Lu is willing to come and listen? Episode 88. Danzo's imagination. Is Sarutobi Hiruzen the mastermind? Danzo? Sarutobi Hiruzen was so angry when he saw the man who pushed open the door of the Hokage's office and walked in that his eyes almost popped out. What are you talking about here again? And he said he found important clues. Nonsense. He, the Hokage, has sent out so many Konoha shinobi, but he still hasn't found anything. And Danzo, this guy, suddenly came over and said this. Sarutobi Hiruzen could tell with his toes that Danzo must be planning something. He can't be allowed to succeed. Abbot Lu. Danzo looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen coldly, and ignored him at all, but continued to say to Lu, don't you want to know the truth about the murder of the daimyo? Lu glanced back and forth between Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo, and said, what do you want to say? Are these two people acting in front of him now, or are they serious? Send someone to inform all the jonin of Konoha. Shimura Danzo said confidently, I will explain the truth about the murder of the daimyo in front of everyone at the jonin meeting. Danzo, stop fooling around here. Sarutobi Hiruzen's bad premonition was getting worse and worse, and he quickly corrected himself. What? Shimura Danzo sneered, Hiruzen, are you guilty? Hearing this, Lu also looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with some suspicion. Third Hokage, this reaction is not right now? Could it be that he is really guilty? Third Hokage, it is better to have a result as soon as possible about the murder of the daimyo. Lu stared at Sarutobi Hiruzen and said, in this way, I can also give an explanation to the daimyo's mansion, and the relationship between the daimyo's mansion and Konoha can be restored as soon as possible. Yes, now it can't be delayed any longer. Shimura Danzo also nodded repeatedly and said, if the relationship between the country and the village is destroyed, and Konoha is besieged by the other three major ninja villages, then, Hiruzen, you and I are the sinners who ruined Konoha. Sarutobi Hiruzen gritted his teeth and stared at Shimura Danzo. Hateful. He could clearly guess that Danzo had a conspiracy. But after Danzo used these moral sticks to hit him, he had no way to refuse. Soon. Hokage building. In the meeting room. All the jonin in Konoha village have gathered here. Old man, do you have any clues? Jiraiya asked anxiously, why did you suddenly summon all the jonin? Sarutobi Hiruzen had a gloomy face and said nothing. On the other side, the Imperial Kakashi looked at the Hyuga chief Hyuga Hayashi in the crowd. Everything is self-evident. Dong dong. Everyone. Shimura Danzo stood in front of the large conference room, attracting the attention of a group of Konoha jonin, and said, regarding the continuous murders of daimyo in recent times, I now know the real murderer. All of a sudden, the whole conference room fell silent. Everyone's eyes were looking at Shimura Danzo. And when Sarutobi Hiruzen saw this, he had a bad feeling in his heart. What the hell is Danzo, this bastard, doing? Assistant Danzo, please start as soon as possible. Lu urged impatiently. Don't worry, it will be done soon. Shimura Danzo barely suppressed his excitement. He even felt that the position of Hokage was waving to him. Assistant Danzo? It will be the 5th Hokage soon, Master Danzo. 13x. Danzo barely calmed down and said, the truth about this series of events has to start from the murder of the daimyo of Wave Country. Hatake Kakashi, during the time when the daimyo of Wave Country was murdered, you should have been on a mission in Wave Country, right? Swish, swish, swish. Instantly, a lot of eyes looked at Imperial Kakashi. Kakashi. Might Guy was shocked, the murder of the daimyo of Wave Country, could it be related to you? It has nothing to do with me. Imperial Kakashi faced the gazes of a group of jonin around him, but he remained calm and rolled his eyes and said, it really had nothing to do with him. At that time, Menma took Zabuza and Haku to kill the daimyo of Wave Country together. He didn't participate. I'm not saying it's related to Hitaki Kakashi. Shimura Danzo explained, it's just that, Hitaki Kakashi, during that time, did you meet anyone in the Land of Waves? During the mission, I did meet Mist Shinobi Momochi Zabuza, and a boy with an ice escape technique that he brought with him. Imperial Kakashi narrowed his eyes and replied, besides that, I probably didn't meet anyone else worth noting. Hearing this, everyone at the scene talked a lot. Mist Shinobi Momochi Zabuza. They had also heard of this person. Could it be that Zabuza killed the daimyo of Wave Country? As expected. A cold smile appeared on Shimura Danzo's face, and he looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya and said, I knew it would be like this. Jiraiya was confused, why are you looking at me? It couldn't be that he killed the daimyo of Wave Country, right? Hiruzen, I knew it at the time. Shimura Danzo sneered and said, Jiraiya was going to Wave Country to find Uzumaki Naruto. However, Hitaki Kakashi just said that he didn't meet anyone else in Wave Country. All of a sudden, everyone looked at Jiraiya again. When I was in Wave Country. Imperial Kakashi seemed a little hesitant, looking at Jiraiya and said, I really didn't see Lord Jiraiya. Me, don't look at me. Jiraiya said in a panic, I don't know what happened during that time. I don't know who sealed the content in my memory. As he said that, Jiraiya quickly looked at Yamanaka. I can prove it. Yamanaka Hai said to everyone present, I have checked before, and the memory of Jiraiya-sama was indeed sealed for 10 days before and after that period. Boom. A group of Konoha shinobi went crazy. Jiraiya, one of the Konoha Sannin, had his memory sealed? Who on earth could do such a thing? And what was the content of the sealed memory? Narashikaku. Shimura Danzo suddenly shouted to one of the jonin, I would like to ask you, a well-known wise man in the ninja world, who do you think could seal Jiraiya's memory without anyone noticing? Even Jiraiya himself didn't notice anything unusual. Who can do such a thing? On the opposite side. Narashikaku hesitated for a long time. His eyes swept over everyone present. I can't imagine it. Narashikaku shook his head helplessly and said, to do this, you need to defeat Jiraiya first, and then seal the memory in Jiraiya's mind. If this kind of thing is done by force, no one in the current ninja world should be able to do it. Whether it is the strength required to defeat Jiraiya or the attainments of the sealing technique required to seal the memory. There are only a few people who can meet these standards in the entire ninja world. And it is even more impossible to meet both of them. Yeah, if it is forced, I can't imagine who can do such a thing. Shimura Danzo nodded slightly, and suddenly said meaningfully, but what if it is not through force? There is no need to fight with Jiraiya, but someone who Jiraiya trusts seals Jiraiya's memory? Huh? Jiraiya was confused, what nonsense are you talking about? Danzo, stop it. Sarutobi Hiruzen was so angry that his body was shaking. Huh? Danzo sneered, glanced at Sarutobi Hiruzen and said, it seems that the real murderer can't wait to show up. Silence. Dead silence. In the entire conference room, after Danzo said this, everyone's eyes turned to Sarutobi Hiruzen, but no one dared to say anything. According to what Danzo said just now, it seems that the real murderer he wants to talk about is the third Hokage? What is going on today? Why does it seem like something big is going to happen? Assistant Danzo, who is the real murderer? Di-Lu frowned and asked, also, does the murder of the daimyo of Wave Country have anything to do with the daimyo of Fire Country? Of course it is related. Danzo saw Sarutobi Hiruzen was about to speak, and quickly interrupted, there is another thing about Wave Country. Sarutobi Hiruzen's face was flushed. During the time when the daimyo of Wave Country was murdered, I sent some people to Wave Country to perform tasks. Shimura Danzo slid directly in the middle and continued, among them are Yamanaka Fung and Aburame Togen, and everyone here may know these two people. In addition to the two of them, there is another root team. Total, 2 elite jonin, 1 special jonin, and 2 elite bionin. And this combination of 6 people was all killed in the Land of Waves. 6 people, all with only 1 through wound in the chest. Now I want to ask, who can do this? A group of Konoha jonin were talking. This lineup. If you want to defeat it easily, you have to be at the level of the 5 Kage, right? If it's me, Imperial Kakashi felt that he had guessed Danzo's intention, and said in response, faced with such a lineup, you can only choose to retreat. As soon as this was said, the Konoha Jonin present also nodded. Hatake Kakashi, a well-known elite Jonin in the Leaf. He can only deal with this lineup in this way. My words should be similar. Hyuga Hayashi thought for a moment and spoke. Although he didn't know what was going on today. But since Hatake Kakashi from the Otherworld Empire said so, he would cooperate. Hatake Kakashi, the head of the Hayashi clan, there are only a handful of people in Konoha who are stronger than these two. Shimura Danzo suddenly turned his head and looked at Jiraiya. Among those who meet the requirements, the one who was in Wave Country at that time is you, Jiraiya. Jiraiya was a little confused, pointed at himself, and said blankly, no, you don't want to say that I killed your root ninjas? How is this possible? Why did I kill them? Although he had opinions about the root's way of doing things. But he couldn't kill the root ninjas without any explanation, right? You have to ask your teacher. Shimura Danzo sneered and said, Hiruzen, why did you let Jiraiya kill my subordinates? Sarutobi Hiruzen was also a little confused. Danzo, what nonsense are you talking about? He asked Jiraiya to kill those people of Yamanaka phone? What a mess. How did Danzo come up with such a ridiculous statement? Everyone, now that things have come to this, I will not hide anything about the daimyo. Shimura Danzo said with a very frank look on his face, I sent out my 6 subordinates to protect Uzumaki Naruto, the Nine-Tails Jinchuriki. This is his first time to leave Konoha to perform a mission, and only Hatake Kakashi is with him. Is this okay? Hatake Kakashi, did you completely ensure the safety of Uzumaki Naruto during the previous mission? Speaking, Danzo looked at Imperial Kakashi. He had read the report of Team 7's Wave Country mission before. At this moment, he said this with confidence. I'm sorry, it's my fault. The Imperial Kakashi also cooperated with Danzo at this moment and said, because of my negligence, I fell into Zabuza's trap, causing Naruto and others to fall into danger. Everyone, look. Shimura Danzo waved his hand and said, I sent out the root ninja to protect Uzumaki Naruto's safety. And Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, in order to suppress me, secretly arranged for Jiraiya to kill all the men I sent over. Boom. The whole conference room was completely blown up. A group of Konoha shinobi, some doubted, some believed, and talked about it. The Imperial Kakashi has now confirmed Danzo's plan, and is looking forward to cooperating secretly next. And Sarutobi Hiruzen and Jiraiya, one was shaking with anger, the other was confused. I think the answer should be clear. Shimura Danzo was extremely excited and continued, the only one who could easily kill my 6 men in the Land of Waves at that time should be Jiraiya. And the only one who could seal Jiraiya's memory of this period of time was our third Hokage. Bullshit. Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't hold it anymore and cursed, Danzo, there should be a limit to your nonsense. Danzo saw this and immediately wanted to fight back. On the side. Lu saw this and couldn't listen anymore, so he interrupted. Please wait a moment, both of you. Assistant Danzo, what you said before, is it related to the murder of several daimyo? Didn't you say, promised Zhao, about the murder of the daimyo? Why is it that the third Hokage and the Hokage assistant of Konoha are talking in front of everyone? Jonin's face? What on earth is going on today? However, Lu can at least be sure of one thing now. This situation is definitely not a show. Hiruzen sent Jiraiya to kill my subordinates in order to warn me and suppress my power. Shimura Danzo snorted coldly and said, but Hiruzen's ambition is more than that. In addition to letting Jiraiya kill my subordinates, he also arranged for Jiraiya to get rid of the Tengu. Nonsense. Sarutobi Hiruzen blew his beard and glared, why should I let Jiraiya kill the daimyo of the Land of Waves? Yes. Jiraiya also nodded repeatedly, what does the daimyo of the Land of Waves have to do with our Land of Fire in Konoha? Danzo, this guy, why is he talking more and more nonsense? His own teacher asked him to assassinate the daimyo. And then he sealed his own memory. It's really nonsense. This is just the beginning. Shimura Danzo continued confidently, killing the daimyo of Wave Country was just to hide your real purpose. After that, Hiruzen, you used Uchiha Itachi to kill the daimyo of Wind Country. Moreover, these two incidents are very similar. The daimyo's entire family was killed. But, in the third time, Hiruzen, your real goal, something unexpected happened. You deliberately asked your son Sarutobi Asuma to accept a mission issued by the wife of the daimyo of Fire Country, but in fact you wanted your son to take the opportunity to kill the daimyo. It's just that Sarutobi Asuma is not as strong as Jiraiya and Uchiha Itachi, and something went wrong. But, because of this, because of Sarutobi Asuma's exposure, Hiruzen, you who are hiding behind are also exposed. The previous killings of the daimyo of Wave Country and the daimyo of Wind Country were just means to hide your real goal. Hiruzen, you are the mastermind behind the murder of the three daimyo. Episode 89. Sarutobi Hiruzen is alone. Removal of the third Hokage. 2-6. At this moment, Kakashi looked at Shimura Danzo and was amazed. In the Empire, people like Sarutobi Hiruzen and Shimura Danzo were killed by His Majesty long ago. When he was a child, he didn't have much contact with these two young masters of the Konoha era. As a result, now that he came to this other world, he saw them. Sure enough, he was not disappointed. Just now, Kakashi wanted to applaud Danzo's inference. If he was not one of the masterminds behind the scenes, he would probably think that this inference made sense. He really didn't expect it. Danzo, this guy, could actually get such a result from so many fragmented information. Yamanaka Fong and Aburame took the root of those 6 people. Kakashi knew this matter very well, because he killed those people himself. The daimyo of Wave Country was killed by Menma, Zabuza, and Haku. But Shimura Danzo put all the blame on Jiraiya. But Jiraiya was indeed in Wave Country at that time. Danzo's suspicions are very reasonable, well-founded and convincing. As for the sealed memories in Jiraiya's mind, this was originally done by Menma, but Shimura Danzo thought it was done by Sarutobi Hiruzen. Shimura Danzo helped these visitors from other worlds to pass on the blame for what they did. Now, there are so many people present. Only the witnesses of the Kakashi incident in the Empire can figure out the whole picture of the incident. As for the others, except for Shimura Danzo who made up the whole process of the incident, and Sarutobi Hiruzen who was forcibly blamed, the rest of the people, including Jiraiya, were all stunned. Danzo's aggressive call just now shocked them all. They are the third Hokage of Konoha village, Sarutobi Hiruzen. How could he be the mastermind behind the consecutive murders of 3 daimyos, including the daimyos of the Land of Fire? If this kind of thing is true, they dare not believe it. But if it is false, what Danzo said before makes sense. Jiraiya held his head, frowned, and tried hard to recall some sealed memories. What is the truth? Jiraiya, do you doubt me too? Sarutobi Hiruzen turned his head suddenly, with an unbelievable look on his face. Danzo, what he just said is all nonsense. How could I order you to kill the daimyo? And even seal your memory afterwards? This is true. Jiraiya frowned and nodded slightly. Even if his teacher could make such a request to him, he would not accept it. How could he obey the order to kill the daimyo? 260. And accept the sealed memory. But, Jiraiya, who do you think sealed your memory? Shimura Danzo sneered and said, except Hiruzen, the person you trust, who else can forcefully defeat you, capture you, seal your memory, and send you back to the land of hot springs without you noticing anything unusual? Jiraiya opened his mouth, unable to speak. He still hadn't figured out that his memory was sealed. Danzo, you must have made a mistake. Mitokado Hamura, who was also in the conference room, said, how could Hiruzen be as bold as you said? How could he want to assassinate the daimyo? Humph. Danzo snorted coldly and said, I only knew that Hiruzen, as a Hokage, had more skills than me as an assistant. But I never thought that the power of the Hokage could no longer satisfy Hiruzen. I guess Hiruzen did this because he wanted to take advantage of the opportunity to get involved in the power of the Land of Fire after killing the daimyo. And because he didn't want to be suspected of killing the daimyo of the Land of Fire, Hiruzen killed 3 daimyo in succession and hid his true goal. It's just a pity. Hiruzen, you still failed. Your son Sarutobi Asuma is really not good enough. He exposed his identity when he was trying to murder the daimyo of the Land of Fire. Hearing this, Di-Lu was shocked and looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen fiercely. Third Hokage, do you still want the power of the Land of Fire? This third Hokage, is he so arrogant? I don't have such an idea. Sarutobi Hiruzen was almost vomiting blood in anger. How come Lu, the bald donkey, also started to believe Danzo's words? That's right, Hiruzen can't be the mastermind behind it. Utatane Koharu also helped to defend. Danzo, you said before that Hiruzen used Uchiha Itachi to kill the daimyo of the Land of Wind. How is this possible? Yes, that's right. Mitokado Hamura suddenly thought of something, his eyes lit up and said, by the way, Uchiha Itachi, those people from the other world he mentioned before. Are there really invaders from the other world? Are these people the ones who did these things? Otherworld, yes. Sarutobi Hiruzen seemed to have grabbed a life-saving straw at this moment, and hurriedly said, the invaders from Otherworld, this seems to be true now. Let's not worry about whether it's true or not. In any case, now, let's clear the suspicion on ourselves first. The invaders from Otherworld, even if there are none, there must be one now. No, old man, what is the invader from another world? Jiraiya said with a confused look on his face, how can it be related to something as illusory as Otherworld? Jiraiya, don't be fooled by them. Shimura Danzo snorted coldly and said, and, Yen, Koharu. I'm afraid that both of you, including me, have been used by Hiruzen. Huh? Mitokado Hamura and Utatane Koharu looked at each other in bewilderment. What is Danzo talking about? I guess Hiruzen deliberately asked Itachi Toyochi to make up a letter to lead the invaders. Shimura Danzo confidently guessed, what bullshit alien invaders, all of them are lies. That letter was given to us by Hiruzen. And the reason why Hiruzen did this is probably to make us think that Uchiha Itachi has really betrayed. But in fact, Uchiha Itachi is still Hiruzen's man. Uchiha Itachi killed the daimyo of Wind Country on Hiruzen's order. Also, using the Amaterasu flame to burn my root base, this must have been done by Hiruzen's order to Uchiha Itachi. When I think of this, Shimura Danzo was so angry that his teeth were itching. It's right. It's all right. That's what he said. How could Uchiha Itachi suddenly sneak into Konoha and burn down his root base? If it was Hiruzen's order, then it all makes sense. Destroying the root base and destroying the root organization was Hiruzen's way of suppressing him. He didn't kill him because Hiruzen still had some feelings for him. Imagine if Uchiha Itachi realized that he was used in the past and came to Konoha for revenge, then he would have come to find him and killed him directly, wouldn't it be enough? In the end, he didn't come to find him, but destroyed the root instead. If this was Uchiha Itachi's revenge, it didn't make sense. But if Hiruzen used Uchiha Itachi to suppress him, then it would make perfect sense. Mitokado Hamura was stunned, thinking quickly in his mind. What Danzo just said seems to make some sense. The root organization has become increasingly powerful in recent years, and Hiruzen has always been a little afraid of Danzo. He also knows this. And according to what Danzo just said, using Jiraiya to kill the 6 people of Yamanaka Wind, using Uchiha Itachi to destroy the root organization. In this way, the purpose of suppressing the root will be achieved. After that, coupled with not giving Danzo the funds to rebuild the root, Danzo will no longer be a threat to Hiruzen. Is this really? Utatane Koharu looked at Sarutobi Hiruzen with some doubt. On the side, Mitokado Hamura is the same. They are now beginning to believe Danzo's analysis a little. You? Sarutobi Hiruzen saw the look in the eyes of the two old friends, and his body began to shake a little. Yen, Koharu, do you two think so too? Wait, Uchiha Itachi? Jiraiya's face suddenly changed, and he thought of something, and asked hurriedly, old man, the crow you burned to death a few days ago. Then, that couldn't be raised by Uchiha Itachi? Many people in the Uchiha clan are good at using ninja crows to fight. Ninja crows? Ha, that must be right. Shimura Danzo sneered and nodded. Uchiha Itachi does have the habit of raising ninja crows. Jiraiya's face changed drastically, looking at Sarutobi Hiruzen in disbelief. Old man, I couldn't figure out yesterday, why are you so eager to kill that ninja crow? And if that ninja crow is Uchiha Itachi's? Uchiha Itachi still obeys his teacher. However, this matter cannot be exposed in front of him, so his teacher immediately burned the ninja crow to death. Old man, it's not really you who did it, Beth? Jiraiya said with a somewhat collapsed expression. Sarutobi Hiruzen's body shook, his face was full of grief and anger, he retreated repeatedly, covered his chest, and panted rapidly. Misunderstanding, this is all a misunderstanding. He was upset at the time and didn't want to see Uchiha Itachi talking nonsense, so he burned the ninja crow to vent. How come Jiraiya didn't want to expose his connection with Uchiha Itachi? Why? How could this be? Danzo, that bastard, didn't know how he made up such a set of rhetoric and said it so seriously. And now, his old partners, Mitokado Hamura and Udatane Koharu, and his own disciples, Jiraiya, now everyone seems to believe this. Wait, the four worlds. Kakashi, seeing this, was happy to watch the show, but he also came out to add fuel to the fire. Danzo-sama said before that the visitors from Otherworld came through the Dragon Vein. I can prove that there is nothing unusual on the Dragon Vein side. But Danzo-sama, you said before that Uchiha Itachi still obeys the orders of Hokage-sama, what's going on? Hearing this, everyone present also looked at Danzo. Yes. They wanted to ask just now. Uchiha Itachi, isn't he a rebel ninja? Heh. At this point, it involves the affairs of several daimyos, so it's not concealed. Shimura Danzo sneered, intending to take the opportunity to get rid of the blame on himself. Uchiha Itachi, he was exterminated by the Konoha village Vice Admiral Uchiha clan. Do you think Hiruzen, the Hokage, is unaware of it? Uchiha Itachi, he is just a knife in Hiruzen's hand. Even after Uchiha Itachi nominally defected from Konoha, he is still used by Hiruzen. Boom. In the crowd, the discussion exploded. The many Konoha jonin present, even though they had experienced so many shocks before, but once this matter was said, it was still a heavy news. Uchiha genocide incident. Many people will feel something is wrong. But now, from the mouth of Shimura Danzo, the assistant of the Hokage, it is confirmed that it is a conspiracy, which is still extremely shocking. The Itachi who killed his father and mother and slaughtered the entire clan, he was used as a knife to do such a thing, and he still did it after defecting. Used by the third Hokage? For a moment, a group of people felt that their understanding of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the Hokage, had been refreshed. No wonder, I said, how could Uchiha Itachi kill so many people in the village? The third Hokage is really amazing. After so many years, he can still control Uchiha Itachi. After all, he has been the Hokage for decades, how could he not have some tricks? Alas, if Sarutobi Asuma's assassination of the daimyo had not been exposed this time, I'm afraid the third Hokage would still be hiding it now. All kinds of chaotic discussions. There are still some doubts. But now, more and more people believe Danzo's statement. Danzo, you? Sarutobi Hiruzen pointed at Danzo, his arm shaking. It was your route that assisted Uchiha Itachi in exterminating the clan. And, wasn't it you who dug out so many Sharingan? They've turned against each other, all of them. They've turned against Tian Gang. Danzo, this bastard, actually put the blame on himself. Now, Sarutobi Hiruzen didn't care about anything, and he started to tell others about the Uchiha extermination incident. After all, is there any more serious crime than killing a daimyo? Let's clear this blame first. Humph. It's pure slander. Shimura Danzo sneered and said, Hiruzen, you just saw that my root base has been destroyed and I can't prove my innocence, so you slander me like this. Sarutobi Hiruzen was going crazy. Damn, what did that bastard Danzo just say? Innocent? You still want to prove your innocence? Does this matter have anything to do with you, Shimura Danzo? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked angry and said to the Konoha jonin present, these things really have nothing to do with me. What Danzo just said is slander. However, no one spoke. Many of the Konoha jonin had already believed Danzo's statement. Some who didn't completely believe it were frowning and thinking about something. But in short, no one spoke for Sarutobi Hiruzen. Seeing this, Sarutobi Hiruzen's heart gradually cooled down. Hiruzen, you can say it wasn't you who did it. Shimura Danzo sneered, but tell me clearly, what do you think the truth is? Can you convince everyone better than what I said before? Sarutobi Hiruzen opened his mouth and wanted to speak, but he didn't know what to say at all. He knew he hadn't done those things, but he had no idea who the real murderer was. On the contrary, Danzo, the bastard, made up stories that were connected and strung together, sounding like the truth. In that case, is the real mastermind behind the scenes the third Hokage? Lu's face gradually darkened, staring at Sarutobi Hiruzen, and asked, Sarutobi Asuma, where is he now? The murderer who killed the daimyo, and almost killed himself with a knife. Heh. I guess, after sending so many people, they still can't find Sarutobi Asuma. I'm afraid it's because Sarutobi Asuma was hidden by Hiruzen. Shimura Danzo sneered. X10S. Dilu nodded with a gloomy face. In that case, Sarutobi Hiruzen, the real murderer behind the murder of the daimyo, needs to be handed over to the daimyo's government for handling. Even if he is Hokage, still the same. The dignity of the daimyo, even the Hokage cannot be offended. What's more, Sarutobi Hiruzen killed the daimyo. Wait a minute, Abbot Jilu. Shimura Danzo stopped him and said, after all, Hiruzen is still the Hokage of Konoha. Besides, there are still some details that have not been clarified. Don't rush to take him to the daimyo's mansion. After that, Shimura Danzo turned his head and looked at the Konoha Jonin present, and said righteously. Although Hiruzen is the Hokage of Konoha, he is also my partner of Shimura Danzo for decades, but now Hiruzen has killed the daimyo, we must not let it go. Now, I, the Hokage of Konoha, Shimura Danzo, propose to remove the third Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen. Episode 90. Jonin vote passed. Sarutobi Hiruzen steps down. Danzo, you? Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at Danzo, who was speaking righteously, with an unbelievable look on his face. Danzo, this bastard. He actually wanted to dismiss himself in public? Dismiss himself, the incumbent Konoha Hokage? However, Sarutobi Hiruzen looked at the Konoha Jonin present again. After Danzo finished what he said just now, although there were some whispers, no one spoke out against anything in the end. You. Sarutobi Hiruzen faced the people in the large conference room, shaking with anger. What are you doing? Dismissing the Hokage? When has Konoha ever had such a precedent? Before the Hokage takes office, he needs to pass the Jonin's vote of confidence. However, there has never been such a thing as Jonin voting to make the Hokage abdicate before. There is no such precedent. Shimura Danzo nodded slightly, and suddenly changed the subject, but in the past, there was no precedent of a village shadow sending people to assassinate the daimyo. I have never done such a thing. Sarutobi Hiruzen was almost mad. Why do all the people now think that he is the mastermind? What is the truth? I don't know it at all. How come this black pot is put on my head? Hiruzen, don't quibble anymore. Shimura Danzo shook his head, and then, without saying anything more to Sarutobi Hiruzen, he turned to look at Dilu. After all, Dilu Abbot Tianzhan is still the Hokage of Konoha now. Whether it is to investigate what Hiruzen has done, or to hand him over to the daimyo's office for handling, it is best to remove Hiruzen from the position of Hokage first and then deal with it. Danzo's words were well reasoned. The Jonin of Konoha present, as well as Jilu, the abbot of the fire temple who represented the daimyo, had no objection to this handling method. How dare you? Sarutobi Hiruzen couldn't suppress his anger at all. You are making a fuss. You want to depose me as the Hokage without even figuring out the matter. Who gave you this power? While speaking, Sarutobi Hiruzen suddenly burst out chakra. He is old now, but that doesn't mean he can't fight anymore. Why, Hiruzen, do you want to resist violently? Shimura Danzo sneered fearlessly. Can I understand that if you are really investigated, the things you did can't be concealed at all? So, you choose to resist violently now? Hiruzen, you are really confused. What else do you want to do in front of so many Jonin? Even with the strength of the Hokage, surrounded by so many Jonin, don't even think about resisting. Sarutobi Hiruzen was dumbfounded. Damn it. I was slandered like this, and now I can't even resist? Is it possible that I am guilty of not agreeing to remove this Hokage? However, in the meeting room, no one still spoke up for him. People who were originally skeptical of Danzo's words now began to think that Sarutobi Hiruzen's behavior was a little suspicious. Jiraiya hesitated a little and whispered, "How about you just bear with it? After all, you are the most suspicious now. Anyway, after checking it out later, it was not my teacher who did it, so I can restore my teacher's reputation at that time." Jiraiya, shut up. Sarutobi Hiruzen glared at Jiraiya unhappily. What does Jiraiya know? If he is really dismissed from the position of Hokage, what will be found out afterwards will be completely beyond his control. It is clear that he did not do it, but in the end, it may be said that he did it. Danzo can do such a thing. Hiruzen, I think you should just be patient. Mitokado Hamura also advised, you are old, and if you are found innocent later, you can take this opportunity to retire. Yes, Hiruzen. Udatane Koharu also said, this matter is too big now, it is better to find out as soon as possible. If it is really not you, then we should investigate in other directions as soon as possible. For the two of them. They are confused now. Listening to Danzo's words, it seems to make sense, and they can be connected to each other. However, the two of them still find it a little hard to imagine. Hiruzen's desire for power is so great that he dares to kill even the daimyo. However, no matter what the truth is, Hiruzen should now investigate it clearly. After clearly ruling out this suspicion, go to investigate other directions with all your heart. You. Sarutobi Hiruzen looked angry. Why? How did he suddenly become deserted by everyone? Danzo, this bastard, made up such a bunch of bullshit words. Yen and Koharu didn't believe him anymore, and Jiraiya began to doubt him. Hiruzen, this is everyone's unanimous opinion. Shimura Danzo said without any surprise, since no one objects, then, the Jonin vote, get ready to start. With that, Danzo stood in the center of the front of the meeting room. Facing the group of Konoha Jonin, he felt his heart surge. Let's make it simple. Shimura Danzo waved his hand and said, I think Hiruzen is indeed suspicious and needs to be removed for investigation. Stand on the left. On the contrary, stand on the right. After the words fell, the people present did not take action immediately. Although they are indeed suspicious of the third Hokage now, they have not been able to fully react to the matter of dismissing the Hokage. They did not dare to take action immediately. And seeing that no one around them moved, those who originally planned to stand on the left did not take a step. They did not dare to be the first one to stand out. Sure enough, I said it. Sarutobi Hiruzen's mood, which was almost falling into hell, was like returning to heaven at this moment. I knew it, everyone still trusts me as the Hokage. Off. Scared to death. I thought I was really going to be the first Hokage to be dismissed in Konoha. Danzo, this damn bastard, almost killed me today. Once this hurdle is over, I will immediately remove his position as the Hokage's assistant. Suddenly, someone in the crowd spoke up. I agree to dismiss the third Hokage. Hyuga Hayashi briefly exchanged glances with the Imperial Kakashi in the crowd, made a decision, and then walked to the left side of the conference room. This move, immediately, another group of people followed. A group of white-eyed ninjas in the conference room all followed the footsteps of their own family leader. Hayashi, you? Sarutobi Hiruzen's mood, which had just improved, immediately collapsed again, and he looked at Hyuga Hayashi in disbelief. However, Hyuga Hayashi just walked quietly to the left side of the conference room without saying anything. The people present saw this scene, thought about it and understood. This is probably because of personal grudges. At the beginning, because of the inaction of Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, Hyuga Hazashi, the younger brother of the Hyuga clan leader, committed suicide and was thrown out to Cloud Shinobi. And looking at Hyuga Hayashi like this, it is obvious that he has not let go of the original matter. Sarutobi Hiruzen also quickly figured out the reason. With a gloomy face, he said nothing more. Hyuga clan. It seems that the warning is not enough. I agree to remove the third Hokage. Several people in the crowd spoke up and walked to the left side of the meeting room. These people were all Jonin of civilian origin, and they were dissatisfied with Sarutobi Hiruzen's handling of the Cloud Shinobi incident. Now, after seeing the Hyuga clan take the lead, these people no longer hesitated and stood up directly. Soon, more people spoke up. Sarutobi Hiruzen has been the Hokage for decades. Some Jonin in Konoha village are also dissatisfied with him. Moreover, these people have become more and more in recent years. At this moment, all those who were dissatisfied with Sarutobi Hiruzen, the third Hokage, stood up and walked to the left side of the meeting room. Gradually, in the conference room, on the left side, 1/3 of the people have gathered. DF. Sarutobi Hiruzen finally couldn't help but breathe a sigh of relief when he saw that fewer and fewer people expressed their opinions. Fortunately. But these people are not enough to remove himself. Suddenly, I agree to remove the third Hokage. Imperial Kakashi silently observed the situation on the scene, stood up, and added fuel to the fire. After speaking, Imperial Kakashi also walked to the left side of the conference room. Oh. Kakashi, wait. Might Guy looked confused, and seeing Imperial Kakashi's actions, he hurriedly followed. Kakashi, should we do this too? He didn't quite understand the current situation. But he didn't need to understand it, just follow Kakashi directly. And with the actions of Imperial Kakashi. Among the crowd of Konoha Jonin, many people who were still waiting and watching chose to act. Hatake Kakashi, this name still has a lot of fame and reputation among Konoha Jonin. After Kakashi expressed his opinion, many people stopped waiting and immediately expressed their opinions and walked to the left side of the meeting room. Kakashi, why are you like this? Sarutobi Hiruzen felt that he was about to fall. Even Kakashi stood up and opposed him. Now, the people on the left side of the meeting room are approaching half of the total. Kakashi lowered his eyebrows and said nothing. But he was excited to watch the show in his heart. Today's show is so interesting. Shimura Danzo is really good at making things happen. Danzo helped them get rid of the blame for what these visitors from other worlds did. Now, they even made an epic and ruthless move to remove the Hokage. Kakashi now feels that he has nothing to say except 6 in his heart. We, the Aburame clan, agree to remove the third Hokage. The head of the Aburame clan, Aburame Jiwei, looked at his clansmen, nodded slightly, and walked to the left side of the meeting room. Because of their expertise in insect-related secret arts, the Aburame clan was often targeted by Shimura Danzo and asked to send clan members to join the route. As for these, the Hokage Sarutobi Hiruzen has always been perfunctory and has never really cared about them. Now, Sarutobi Hiruzen is about to step down, and they are willing to help. Next. More and more people walked towards the left side of the conference room. Almost half of the people on the left are here. Shimura Danzo narrowed his eyes and looked at the remaining people who had not yet expressed their opinions. The rest of you, please hurry up. If you disagree, stand on the right side of the conference room. Now. In the conference room, there are almost half of the people in the middle. Nearly half of the people who have expressed their opinions are already standing on the left side of the conference room. As for the right side of the conference room, they are all ninjas from the Sarutobi clan. Now, apart from the Jonin of the Sarutobi clan, no other Jonin has clearly expressed their support for Sarutobi Hiruzen. Sarutobi Hiruzen became more and more anxious and looked at Nara Shikaku in the center of the conference room. The Inoshikacho clans should support him, right? If he doesn't express his support, he will be finished. Now, he needs all the remaining people in the middle to express their support for him, so that he can survive this hurdle today. In the crowd, Nara Shikaku frowned and hesitated for a long time before he sighed and said, I abdicate, but it only represents me. The members of the Nara clan can make their own choices freely. Sarutobi Hiruzen's eyes widened. Shikaku, what are you doing? If you don't stand up and express your support for me at this time, I will be finished soon. In the middle of the meeting room. After Nara Shikaku made the decision, the remaining Nara clan members also spoke up. They were too lazy to think about it and followed the choice of their clan leader. They also expressed their opinions and abstained from voting. Soon. The ninjas of the Yamanaka clan and the Akamichi clan followed suit and expressed their opinions and abstained from voting. Thump. Sarutobi Hiruzen's legs softened and he stepped back repeatedly, holding his chest. The 3 clans of Inoshikacho all abstained from voting. Even if the remaining people all supported him, there were not as many people who opposed him now. He could be said to have lost now. He was actually going to be the first Hokage to be dismissed from Konoha. Okay, everyone else, express your opinions and make your choices as soon as possible. Shimura Danzo felt relieved and said, the Jonin voting will end soon. After saying this, most of the people in the middle of the conference room chose to abstain, and a small number of them hesitated for a while and walked to the left side of the conference room. Finally, the people standing on the left side of the conference room who expressed their support for the removal of Sarutobi Hiruzen not only exceeded the number of people on the right, but also directly exceeded half of the Jonin. Complete victory. Hiruzen, you should have no objection to this result, right? Shimura Danzo was in an unusually good mood at the moment, and said to Sarutobi Hiruzen in a generous manner. Sarutobi Hiruzen glanced at his old partner coldly and said nothing. Today he is doomed. He can only see if he can save himself later. After all, he was not the one who killed the daimyo. As long as he can find a way to explain this clearly, he will have a chance later. In this case, I will announce it in the name of the Hokage assistant. Shimura Danzo's mouth began to curl up uncontrollably. Kakuzu barely suppressed it and made himself not laugh out loud. He announced to everyone in a deep voice, remove Konoha's third-generation Hokage, Sarutobi Hiruzen. And, arrest the suspect Sarutobi Hiruzen and thoroughly investigate the daimyo's murder. Great. Shimura Danzo felt a surge of satisfaction in his heart at this moment. Hiruzen, you tell me every day that you are the Hokage. I have told you so many times that you will regret it, and you definitely don't care. But now, Hiruzen, I am the one who announces the dismissal of you as the Hokage. Next, when I find out the truth, I will ascend to the position of Hokage with the help of this reputation. Konoha's fifth the position of Hokage is already waving at me. DF. Shimura Danzo barely suppressed his excitement and tried to say in a calm tone, Hiruzen, do you have anything else to say? The killing of the daimyo has nothing to do with me. Sarutobi Hiruzen said coldly, investigate the truth as soon as possible. Yes. Shimura Danzo thought Sarutobi Hiruzen was just being stubborn, and turned to Dilu and said, Abbot Dilu, we will find out the whole truth as soon as possible and give an explanation to the daimyo mansion. In this way, he has established a good relationship with the daimyo mansion. In addition to his credit for exposing Hiruzen's conspiracy, who else can be the fifth Hokage except himself? In the crowd, Empire Kakashi breathed a sigh of relief, sighing that the drama of the first half finally ended. Shimura Danzo, he should be very excited now, confidently planning to become the Hokage? OPJ. At the moment closest to the goal, watching the goal disillusioned, this taste must be very painful, right? Meanwhile, main world. Space-time transmission base. Chang Ye warned a white-eyed girl standing on the transmission array. After you go there, don't engage in intense fighting during the fetal movement period. After the third fetal movement period, Tensigen will be stable and there will be no problem. 6.